it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to show you an easier, and the easiest way to wax your snowboard. Let's check this out. Okay, so not all of us have tons of time to wax our board before we go ride, or maybe you just forgot, but there are a few different ways that you can actually get a quick wax on your board to make sure that you're going fast without having to get out the iron and all the tools to do a hot wax. All right, so first up is the easy way, and for this we're going to need wax, we are going to need a buffing pad, and we're going to need the iron that you usually use to hot wax your board. Take the bar of wax, your all temperature wax, hot wax, cold wax, whatever weather wax you have, and basically just kind of rub it into the board similar to how you would do with a regular rub-on wax. Just kind of spread it out as much as possible. Obviously, you have a super big bar like this, you can cover a little bit more ground. And if you have some lights, kind of look in the lights and you can see all of the spots where you might have missed. But we want to get as much as we can. And it doesn't have to be super covered, but we want to get as much covered as we can. So once you actually have that covered, now we're actually going to take it and we're going to hit it with the iron real quick. Now obviously this is very similar to how we do it when we are hot waxing the board. But the big difference is that when you do the drip, and you get a lot of wax on there, and you basically take this iron, you're melting more wax, it's getting down into the base, and you're definitely getting better coverage, which means you're gonna get better repellency. But with this, we can get a good amount of wax on the board just by rubbing it, and then obviously by heating it up, what wax is on the board, we can actually get that down into the base a little bit. So once you've actually got that all smoothed out with the iron, then we want to take our buffing pad and then again just give the board a quick little buff. Now again, this is an easy way to do it. This is not the way you want to do it all the time. A regular hot wax is still going to be better. You're going to get more wax, you're going to get more repellency, and it's going to last a lot longer too. But again, if you've got 5-10 minutes real quick, you can basically get this thing done and get out and ride. All right, moving from easy to easier, now we're looking at your rub-on waxes. And these are usually in little pieces. This has obviously been used a little bit, but a lot of times the rub-on waxes are not huge pieces because you actually don't use a ton of it. And even a little piece can last a long time. In fact, this Burton rub-on wax, this piece that I'm holding in my hand, was about as big as the buffing block that it came with originally. And I have used this thing probably 20 times. It's insane how long this stuff lasts. But this is very similar to the easy way to wax, where we're basically just rubbing this wax onto the board, and we are going to want to get as much of the rub-on wax onto the base as we can. Now, the big difference between this and the easy way is with that iron, we are actually melting the wax a little bit. So we're actually helping to get that wax down into the board a little bit more. This is basically going to leave it a little bit more on top of the base. But since it's not a thick layer, it is going to repel the snow. It is going to make things faster, and it's not going to slow us down. So once you get that all rubbed in and you can see that there's a good amount of wax covering the board, now we're going to take the buffing pad. Sometimes depending on the wax and how it is, they might have this piece, which is almost like a foam. Sometimes it's more like a scouring pad like you use to clean your dishes. Sometimes it's attached to something, but most of the rub-on waxes are going to come with that buffing pad, and we just want to buff it. And what we're doing here is we're just using the friction of the pad to actually help kind of melt the wax down a little bit and basically smooth it out. Also, it's helping to rub it into those areas where you might have a line here and a line here from where you rubbed it. It's going to help smooth it out into that spot that you might have missed a little bit. But again, this only takes usually 2 to 5 minutes depending on how much you rub on and how much you buff. But this is something that's very easy to do, and you can keep this in your car and do it at the resort. And then last up, we have the easiest, and this is going to be your pastes and your sprays. Pastes, you're going to have a little bit of a pad inside, and all you have to do is get a little bit of that paste, a little bit of that goop on your pad and spread it around in a circular motion. And it's very easy to get a nice even coat because you can actually see every single little detail on the base of your board. And if you have that spray, you're basically gonna spray it on and then you just give it a wipe with a rag. And it's gonna, again, just like a liquid, gonna spread out very, very easily along the length of your board. So I always, again, do circular motions from tip to tail. And then once I get to the end of it, I like to kind of drag back and forth, tip to tail, tip to tail. Now the thing about this paste is it's still a little bit closer to liquid. So what we want to do is we just want to let your board sit outside. I usually like to do this if I know I need some speed and we're at the resort. I'll do this and then I'll put my boots and everything on. So that way it actually has a chance to sit out in the cold and solidify a little bit. And this is basically going to get you on the hill super, super fast and give you that extra speed. So hopefully that helps out. And we do get a lot of people that always ask, well, why would I even do a hot wax when these are so easy? The harder it is to put your wax on your board, the longer it's gonna last and the better wax job it's gonna be. When you do a hot wax job and you melt all that wax into the board, it's gonna last longer. It can last you a few days, maybe even up to a few weeks. When you do these quick wax jobs, obviously they are gonna benefit. If you do the rub and melt, that'll usually last you for a day. If you do the rub and buff, that can last you a day depending on the conditions. If you do the paste, if it's very soft conditions, it could last you a full day. If it's kind of crappy, rough, icy conditions, it could honestly be gone in a few runs. It is good to have some of these quicker wax options in your car, in your bag, something to take along with you because you might have forgot to wax your board or you just don't have time to wax your board before you're going out riding. But a good thing to note, nothing beats a good hot wax. And we'll leave a link in the description down below if you're not sure how to hot wax your board as to how to do that. But if you got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure that it's performing up to its best abilities too. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a new board and some wax from peterglenn.com. Get that thing all waxed up and get out and ride. Because any day of riding is a good day of riding.